This is day 46 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored by my good friend Reb Danny Kislin for foolish Shlema for his father, Reb Avram Zcharia ben Miriam, should happen speedily. Today we are doing, if you'd like to sponsor Arukh HaShulchan more of Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly, be greatly appreciated. Today we're doing Siman Shin Gimel Sif Hey, the Siman Shin Gimel Sif Yud Gimel. Hey, so we're talking about, of course, jewelry which a woman can and cannot wear out in in various different rishuyos on Shabbos. Well, they're still not talking about strings which are on her head, but strings which are on her neck. It says by a woman's allowed to go out with them. There's no issue of toiveling, which case she would have to take them off. They're not strongly. Not tight around her neck. That, in which case, it would not be able to go around them. That's my woman does not strangle herself. Therefore, they are gripping her weakly. And the water comes through them. She does not have to remove them. If they're golden strings, an expensive necklace, she's not going to put in the water. Then it's forbidden. It's like the strings on her head because we're afraid she's going to take them off. Also, if the necklaces are dirty, I guess she's not going to want to make the water dirty. This is specifically talking about strings on the neck. And I spoke too soon when I used the word necklace. But if it's a necklace around the neck, it's a garment which she hangs around on her neck, opposite her heart, it dangles down her heart. Shansin, and it has a place where it actually has a strap, where they insert a broad band and she ties it around her neck. She can't go out with this. This is what we call in English a choker. So it's a broad band. It's not just a string. It's a broad band around her neck, which is most likely the choker, obviously. That's what he's about to say. I'm not sure what way he has the thing dangling. It's still because that's not such a part of it. It's a choker. Katala is language of the katel, which means to kill. Obviously not killing, but to choke. So I'm not sure why something's dangling like a necklace. But in any event, because it's choker, because it's wide, even she tightens it on her neck. Because that's why she's not going to strangle herself. And a woman wants to make the choker tight, in order that she should look beautiful, that she has an ample amount of bosom. This is a chatzitza in tefillah, and therefore nishar chashash kechutei rosh, and therefore you remains with the same problem as the strings on the head. There's another problem here. If it is significant and ornate, it's decorated, like I guess chokers are sometimes. So we're afraid she's going to take it off. Those chavra said to show it to her friends. Show her friends how beautiful and good it is. B'tishkach al Shabbos, she's forgetting it. That it's Shabbos, the Tavlena, Arba Amos, Rosh, and carry 4 Amos in Rosh Hashanah. Mitam said lo they say betotefes. From the same issue, go start on totefes. Zel can mean tzitz. It's like the tzitz which went on the forehead of the Kohen Gadol, but this goes magim and ozen and kind of goes around the top of her head, from ear to ear. V'lo b'sarvitin, and not sarvitin. Who can't get tzitz. This is also like the tzitz. Ve'ena magia el al chayayin. But only reaches the cheek. Shekarchta al rosha v'tol chayah. He kind of she makes somehow it's a circlet which circles her head and then has things dangling down opposite her on her cheeks. But the chashin deal mashafa achlei. She's going to show it off. Take it off and show it off. So if they're not sewn onto the snood or tichel, whatever she's wearing on her head. She can't see teeth. That's like a scarf or a kerchief which she's wearing as a head covering. I'm referring b'svacha, but if they're tied, they're sewn onto the head covering. And Mishnah B'Alach brings out that the Torah says even they're just tied onto the head covering. Muteres l'tzeis Mishnah to go on them. She's not going to take them off her head. That's svacha. Lo tasim l'rashav. The shemer rashov. She's not going to take off the head covering and remain with a revealed head. Some say the zel b'nesua. That's by a married woman. Shasura. No, she's not allowed to cover her head. But unmarried women, shedarkon legalos or shan, normally go to uncover head. Asuras afil furos. They're forbidden to go out with these the totefes or the savitin, even if they're sewn on to the svacha, because she has no compunction taking off the svacha. Mitam dimo shavil makah. She may go take it out and show it. V'avagav de inyan tefila amarnu de lo plug rabbanon zel chumra v'lo kul. Even though in terms of tefila we said rabbanon not distinguish between the various different contraptions of these chutim on the head, that's the chumrah. That should be also, but now the kula to be matir. However, we don't say, well, the married woman can't go out this way because then the unmarried woman might go out this way. Because the primary decree is on account of the married women. Shein gedolos verabos. I guess they're adults, and there are many of them. Velon Xorbahu and what is not going to make a decree for minors who are, there are fewer of them. Interesting. The first opinion holds that no, even the Kula Rabbana did not make a distinction. In other words, that this is it's mutter because lo plug doesn't matter, married, not married, we're matu all of them. All this is highly theoretical. This is all according to their time. We don't have these kinds of jewelry anymore. Zayin. Lo tetzei b'kavul. Women should not go out with a kavul kippah shel tzemer, which is a cap made of wool. Which means woven strands of wool, which is 2 inch bows thick. Kashir tzitz, just like the tzitz. If the kohen gadol was 2 inch bows thick, so this is 2 inch bows thick. She puts it around her head as an adornment. Because her friends, she maybe will take it off to show it to her friends. They say, it's the ma. She'll go out with an itzma by matlis. This is a cloth in which they hang colored thread, colored strings. The kala, and they hang it on a kala to keep the flies off her face. Because she's embarrassed to remove them from her face. I guess because maybe she had to take off a veil. I'm not sure why. And she is in anguish, and therefore they make her this thing to keep the flies away. It's not a jewelry at all, but it's a burden. It's a tool, and therefore she shouldn't go out even though she needs it. That's if the Ram's interpretation. Rashi's out here. It's a small hat. Shemageres is haros, which holds together the hairs, which otherwise will come out between the knots of her head covering. It impedes them from coming out. The Arukh says it's a garment which is has gold covering of some sort, and has precious stones on it. In that case, it's also because we're afraid she's going to take it off and show it, like we're afraid she's going to take it off and show the other jewelry which she wears. Should not go out with a city of gold. Rashi, a gold, it's a round piece of jewelry in Sarnbo can mean ear, and they make like a city on it as a decoration. And has in the middle a tongue, which I guess is some sort of long piece of metal, which they connect to the clothing. Ben Tam says that it's like a crown on the head. The Irshazab, I guess, looks like they're wearing a city on your head, some sort of tiara. The Gemara Isa Yerushalayim did the half. The Gemara says that it's a Yerushalayim of gold, Yerushalayim shel zahav. But that's automatically goes in any city. Now, from Yadina, it makes no difference. The call assume any jewelry where there's a suspicion that she might take it off the show is forbidden. It brings down the brackets, the Arukh, which is similar to Rabbeinu Tam. Arukh HaShulchan Pirush Keser V'Lov Tzur Yerushalayim and Sham. It's like a tiara, which has the image of Yerushalayim. Test Klila Butachshit Sheminichasa Padchasa Me'ozon Ozen. Klila is a jewelry which goes on her forehead from ear to ear. Koshat B'Tzuas and she ties on with straps which dangle for it. Mutaris L'Tzeisbo. Whether it's made out of pieces of gold which are strung on a string, or whether those pieces of gold are sewn onto a cloth. Most women don't wear such jewelry. Only very significant women have this jewelry. A distinguished woman doesn't take the jewelry off the show. If it's jewelry which any woman wears, also a significant woman, a distinguished woman, I should say, it's forbidden to wear it lo plugra butter natural these distinctions. See page just like you know that he didn't draw a distinction the chumrah between basulos and skenos, unmarried and married women, in terms of what we're afraid that they're going to go down to take it up before they go into the mikvah. We made that gzera on unmarried women as well. Yud Risukya, line uchatichas mi'ir chava. It's a thick piece of jacket. V'aruk peish chagor sh'lar. The Arukh says it's a leather belt. Yesh bar ritzuas ktsaras tliyos by the kosher abahem. Has small straps or short straps hanging on it to tie it and secure it around her. The mihadak, so it's tight. Sharetz missile. We ain't it doesn't have those straps. Also, it's forbidden. What they say b'ktola, some other type of ktola, or actually he says the same type of ktola. It's a garment which has these closures similar to pants, but it's significant and it's made with design with gold. But I've been noticing, hey, see a variation of the choker. I don't know what it seems to be a very strange variation, some sort of variation. Look, they say, women should not go out with nose rings. Because you might take them off to show them. When they go out in their day and age with earrings. Then the women will cover their ears with their kerchiefs. It's difficult for them to remove the earrings because they are behind the ties of her head covering. So that's the case, the place where women go with revealed ears. Asuros, let's say, and they can't go with earrings because she can take them out very easily and show them around. By the way, it's big chumrah on earrings, which most women don't keep nowadays because we don't have a true shus rabbin, so we don't have this gezerah, as I'm assuming we're going to get to at some point in the future. Right, so what Simon Shinav, we learn Simon Shinav, the machat and the kuva, a needle with a hole for a woman. It's the tool for sewing, not a jewelry. She carries out, she's liable to a chatas. Machat she'enukua, but it doesn't have a hole to put in thread. It's jewelry, she sticks it into into the ties or the folds of her head covering. Because the one which doesn't have a hole on the non-pointy side, it's round and thick like a jewelry, a pin. But one which has a hole, roughly for, but it's only to sew. The one which has the holes, like all other jewelry, that we have a problem, the shalfa, the mikveh, perhaps you're going to remove them and show them around. Now, the Rambam doesn't mention a distinction. I guess whether it's really thick on one side, not thick on one side, but he writes, he writes generically. The Ein Nekuva have a tachshit that it doesn't have a hole, it's a tachshit. Yesh Rashash and Shafa Machabe, and there's a suspicion that she might take it off and show it to other people. Concern that she might do that. The Torah learns it differently. The Torah says it's talking about a needle which uses to comb her hair, to make a part. Even if it's made to adorn her, she can't go out with it. But if it's a pin with which she keeps her, like a hairpin, with which she keeps the folds of her svacha in place, we call it tzatz, she can go out with it. But let they say machlekula, again, she should not go out with a needle which has a hole. Vim yotza, if she went out with a needle with a hole, she is liable to a chatos. Shein ukuvah, let they say, if she went with one which doesn't have a hole, she shouldn't go out. Vim yotza p'tura, if she did go out, she is just part of Osir, Ad Kan Lashano, end quote from the Torah. I missed a Bir Halacha before. He has a problem here with way back when. I'm not sure it's important to us to say this. He says that the Nashim Chashuvos who go out with those pieces of gold. So he says there's some Rishonim who say that it is you can't wear them out if they are on a string or on a comb. Okay, yes, maybe we don't have this. Is not prevalent nowadays, so I don't think we have to get into it. The base, Be'er Dvarim. Now explain the Torah. The Mishnah says, "Lo machach ein nekuva," not with a knee which has no hole. She went out with it; she does not lie to chatas. This is mishum shavim machave, because the prohibition is because she might take it out short. Mefarish Gemara explains the machach ein nekuva shalgeres basara. It's a knee which has no hole. She was just gather her hair, and then she sticks it into her hair covering. Mutar to say she's allowed to go out with that. There's no concern she's going to take it out and show it. Because if she removes it from that from her svacha, all her hair is going to spill out. It's going to be revealed. So the Mishnah is that talking about this pin with which she divides up her hair, butachshit, which is jewelry, v'lo masui, and not a burden. Peirush Rashi. Parach b'Shabbos l'maychaze. The Gemara asks on Shabbos what's it suitable for. Mutarat answers tashel zav yesh barosha. It has a flat piece of gold at the top of the pin. Peirush Rashi explains the maychaze. What's it suitable for? Ve'ena chalak asar b'Shabbos. On Shabbos she doesn't do her hair. Ein sham. See if he's a shapir havi tachshit. According to this, it seems to be definitely a jewelry because not Shabbos Eina because she's not going to be using to part her hair on Shabbos. Asked, why is it forbidden to part your hair on Shabbos? But furthermore, just because of this, a tachshit hoop, because she can't use it for her hair. It becomes automatically jewelry. It's a tool which you don't use on Shabbos. It's still a tool, and so it's a burden. The MS came, and therefore they they said in fact that it is a different. This is the truth. I'm not sure what he means by that, but Bezel Kushiyaso, I guess that is what it's used for. But Bezel Kushiyaso Ma'chazik Klomar V'Amasuhu, not that what he uses it for. What's it suitable for, right? Because it is suitable for splitting for parting there. But the question is, what makes it not a burden? What is it suitable for that makes it not a burden? It's tashos up so there, but says they say that the pin has like a gold surface on top of it, which makes it into jewelry at the back of the pin. Well, that's the case. A generic needle which has no hole, which has none, doesn't have tashos up, it is a burden. Elaine came asir b'tashos up, unless it has this gold piece on it. Uvarahu da Ram asir like Karashi. It's clear the Ram holds like Karashi. The came Louis Kose el Kasav Stam. The Hinakuba raises the takshit. He says if it doesn't have a hole, it's jewelry. And for Karashi, it's clear like Karashi that even without the tashos up, it's jewelry. I don't also understand, according to the other rabbis, that it says Mishnah Isha B'machat Hanakuva, a woman should not go out with a pierced needle which has a hole. If she did, she's liable to chatas. Why is it only specifically one which has a hole? I feel if it's not, doesn't have a hole, it's a tool, and it should be your chayev. It should be chayev, unless it has the tashos of on it. They say regardless of whether it has a tashel zov or not, this needle had a hole is a jewelry. Unless you're allowed to wear it, because you might take it and show it. To me, I'm astounded that Shem Farsha to Shulchan Lo Dibru Zeh. Version to Shulchan don't speak about this whole issue. We are compelled to say, also the hold the that a needle with that hole is jewelry. Then when she sticks it into her scarves or into her some other part of her clothing, she'll kish it for adornment. And the plea of Rashi, the machashal is basari not takshi cloud. But the argument Rashi, they say, but that's not the one which you use to split your hair, to make a part of your hair, because that's never takshi. If they needle specific to that purpose, then it's definitely a burden and also to use to take on a Shabbos. Yud Gimel. These are the words of Tush Kasalot. They say Machasham Alekas Basara. She shouldn't go out with hair which used to divide, with a needle used to divide her hair. Afilim Asui Iskashebo. Even if it's made to be adorning. No matter how much you adorn it, it's not a tashit, it's a tool. But the needle she uses to keep her curls in place, not her curls, keep the knots in place. So let's say she can go out with that. She can't go out with a needle which has a hole. She did. That one's not made to stick into her scarves. Etc. If it doesn't have a hole, she should go out with it. Yotzas Ptura, but she did go out with it, she's exempt. If it's stuck into a place, into one of her scarves. Etc. Because in that case, it's considered to be jewelry. And Yudal, which we'll have to do tomorrow goes into that even more.